What am I hearing about Urban Meyer to the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, Jerry Jones, in his daily interview yesterday, said that he could not confirm that the Cowboys had not talked to Jerry Jones. The rumor's been out there for weeks. It started when Jerry Jones said that he would be honored to be considered to work for the Cowboys. He said they're the Yankees.
You mean Urban Meyer, yeah.
So, Urban Meyer, Jerry Jones too.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the most hilarious things I've ever heard. The idea of Urban Meyer, who is a perfectionist, who's just a freak about everything, being in control, working in the same operation as Jerry Jones. I would love to see it because the marriage would not make it to the first game.
Right.
Really?
The Antonio Brown situation in Oakland. Yeah.
Well, I think he got
Do
a
you
game.
think he could do a good job, Paul, with the Cowboys? Do you think he could do a good job?
I'm talking about the Patriots.
Yeah.
No way.
Urban Meyer, 187 and 32 in his career,
he's
85%
great.
winning percentage, 83 and 9 at Ohio State, 90% winning percentage. And you trying to tell me that he couldn't go to Dallas and do a good job? And by the way, let's give credit where credit's due. I know they at the other network, but Urban Meyer was sitting down with Colin Cowherd, formerly of ESPN, who's now at Fox. So let's just give credit where credit is due.
Okay.
That's who was talking to him. But I'm
We
just
have
saying, you can't do it? Urban Meyer can't do it?
Listen,
Can't succeed?
First of all, Stephen, I think outside, if you move, besides Saban,
Yeah.
he's the best coach of this era. I mean, he's unbelievable. But that doesn't mean he could coexist. I mean, remember last year, going back to the Zach Smith situation, he could not handle the idea of being suspended for 3 games. The president wanted him fired. He went crazy. Ultimately, they pushed him out. I think he said he quit because of health reasons. Doesn't make any difference. But the idea that Urban Meyer could sit there and listen to Jerry Jones after a preseason game give media interviews, I think he would send him over the edge. And listen, I don't know what his health situation is, but it seems like he has used it several times when he has quit.
I think this is one of the most interesting college football playoffs in terms, there haven't been that many really, but in terms of coaching stories, like when you look at who all is involved without Saban, but that elevates to me what's on the line for Dabo. He can take over as number 1. Lincoln Riley, hey, but you haven't won anything yet. And guys like me are saying he should be the next coach of the Cowboys. New guy at Ohio State, and what's like Coach O finally maybe getting the credit he deserves. Of all these guys, who do you think is the most interesting coaching story right now, Paul?
Well, I think Orgeron is the most fascinating because, this guy was working on a shrimp boat 35 years ago, and if you had told him or me or anyone else that he would end up being in a national playoff, 10 years ago he got run out of Ole Miss, and I think I was the one who said he was the worst coach in SEC history. That has changed, by the way, since then.
You go based on the evidence.
Yeah, it's just such a remarkable story because he had no chance of even getting the job a couple of years ago. Remember, Les Miles was fired 4 games into the season. Orgeron took over. We thought he had to beat Alabama. He didn't. He lost to Florida. He got the job. And what's really interesting is the school originally went after Jimbo Fisher, got turned down. Then they were desperate to get Tom Herman. Remember him?
Yeah.
Remember Tom Herman? Is he still coaching in college football? Lost 5 games this year at Texas.
Can I transition to
Please.
Clemson? Can I?
Yeah.
Because I want to get into Clemson. And
Max has already declared Dabo Swinney the next Newt Rockne.
Yeah,
well,
he has.
I'm just saying, he is the man right now. I don't think that can be denied. Why are you convinced they're not going to win the national championship?
Well, because I first of all, they played nobody this year for me to get a good evaluation. And it's hard. I have every reason to believe Dabo is a fine coach, and they have a really good program. But I've seen Ohio State go up against some really good teams. I've seen LSU just beat down some great teams like Georgia the other day. I haven't seen Clemson do anything. So listen. If you are, I know you are just married to the past, Stephen A. You just can't wait to give me all the numbers about 30 straight, 40 straight, 100 straight.
I am a
defending champ.
Well,
you know what? I want to see it this year.
I simply have one. I simply have one mandate. An undefeated, defending, reigning national champion should have an opportunity to defend
Teddy Atlas back in
their
here. He's
crown.
got the wrong sport.
That's all I'm saying. An undefeated, reigning, defending national champion should have a right to defend their crown.
Listen,
that's all.
We've been here 15, 16 straight weeks.
Well, you keep bringing it
and
up.
I'll tell you, for
that
the
I'm married
last
to them.
time, you're wrong.
I wish you guys were on camera for that. That was such a dramatic thing.
Is that your way of saying, Paul Finebaum, that if it were up to you, Clemson would not have been in the top 4?
Stephen A., like every other.
I'm asking a question.
Like every other dweeb who gets a vote or who gets asked a question, I post a ballot every week, and this week Clemson was number 3. Obviously, you're not paying attention.
I did not see
to
the
my
ballot.
Instagram account.
Come on,
You're just saying not automatically.
I just interviewed you.
Wait, Paul,
I didn't go to the Instagram. I came to you. I want to cry. All right.
I know we may be beating a dead horse here, but I need to get back into this philosophically with you for a second, because I totally agree with Stephen A. Smith.
That's a first.
I understand scheduling non-conference games, it could be tough, everything. If you're the champion and you haven't lost, you can't pick the conference you play. You're in the conference you're in, right? So in terms of, other than scheduling tougher out-of-conference games, even if you had a close call and you went undefeated, you don't think that automatically guarantees at least a playoff spot?
Do I need to repeat what I said to him? Do I need to say it to you?
Apparently.
Okay, let me give you a scenario. What if you had a couple more undefeated teams? What if Oregon or Utah were undefeated, and Notre Dame were undefeated, and somebody else was undefeated? Then you have a logjam, and then no, I don't know. At that point,
I would say at that point you need some overwhelming evidence that Oregon or someone like that.
Well, they would have played
had like such better wins and won by so much.
I mean,
more.
Listen. I'm going to throw in the towel here, trying to explain to you guys that college football is based on what happens in this calendar year, not in some other
living
century.
in the past. Paul, I got a question for you. I find this interesting. What does it say about college football that 3 of the quarterbacks in this playoff are all transfers?
It says that one of the biggest issues in this sport, and I said this a couple weeks ago in relation to Saban, is the transfer portal. It will drive coaches crazy.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.